Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday! I hope that you have had the absolutely amazing week. You are deserving of all of the things. Tell a friend to tell a friend that I am back. I took a little bit of a break, didn't announce it, so I completely apologize. Y'all know this is a new season, and last season I had a lot going on, especially in my personal life, my husband and, him being sick. I'm still the family Uber and all of the things. If this is your first time, please understand this is not made by mistake. If you are here, you were meant to be here. My name is Toy. I am your podcaster, but I wear a few other hats as well. I am a content creator, freelance writer, blogger, I guess they want to call influencer, all kinds of different hats. But the hats that I love the most are going to be the hats of being a wife and a mother of 3 amazing children. And I have had the kids on the podcast last season as well. So this has been an interesting new season now that we're going into a new season of the podcast because we are celebrating an anniversary. Yes, that is correct. I believe this is anniversary number 4. 4 years of getting on a mic. Some type of mic, some type of recording device, and using my voice to inspire. My goal is not to pretend as if my life is perfect because I would be bold-faced lying. My goal is not to make it seem as if I have all of the answers because, again, I would be bold-faced lying. My goal is to encourage those who fall as many times in a perfect day as I do and get right back up, dust yourself off, even when you're like frustrated, even when you feel like, why should I even try one more time? One thing that I learned in my life at being 44 is to just, there's nothing that you can't do if you stop. Like if you stop, that's it. You're already out the game. And I feel like when you push through and you realize that like you can do anything you put yourself to do, you could do it. And I am an actual living witness. I have made so many mistakes, big ones, catastrophic ones, small ones, baby ones, and I'm still here. And it's not because of anything that I've done. It's just that there's grace that's on my life. And one thing above grace, or in addition to grace, is that I continue to refresh myself so that I can continue to move on, so I can continue to do the things that are required. So again, if you're listening to this and thinking, wow, she has a podcast, she has a blog, she has all the social media, I'm here to tell you, social media is such a small screenshot of my life. I have things going on in my marriage. I have things happening with my children, just like everybody else. We're trying to make it do with all these things going up and money going low. Like at the end of the day, I'm still just as human. So welcome to the podcast. This is the space for you. Trust me, I talk about mental health all the time. There's not a time when mental health will not come up. Why? Because that is what I do, number one. But number two, I think it's important to talk about why we have some of these inner struggles that we have. And sometimes these inner struggles make it seem as if the life that we want is unattainable. Let me just put you on. I started to do my blog when I was going through postpartum depression, and I have talked very extensively about that. But a little bit of a small recap. When you're in the midst of postpartum depression, it can feel like the absolute loneliest because you hear the cliche things. Sleep when the baby is asleep. 9 times out of 10 when that baby is asleep, you might be just finally getting yourself something to eat or finally getting a shower. So those notions did not work. When you're in postpartum depression, depending on what level you are in, everything that everybody is saying is not that it's bad advice, but we talk about having and talking to people when you're going through stuff. I need the people that are around you to become educated as well. If the people in your circle, especially when you go to have a child, are not aware of some of the signs of postpartum depression and you're pregnant and these are the people you choose to put in your village, you need to get them educated. Bring them to a doctor's appointment with you. Watch a video. Send them an article. Whatever the case, educate the people in your circle. I learned this the hard way. Nobody in my circle had talked about postpartum depression. So when I went to the people in my circle, your friends, the parents, mamas, grandmamas, everybody was just like, oh girl, you just tired and you sleepy. I was literally actually dealing with almost postpartum psychosis. I literally was going through it in every way, and fighting and hollering, screaming, crying. I went through every emotion possible, but it was because nobody in my circle had the understanding of what postpartum depression is. That word wasn't so fluidly used as it is now. And I would also say that doctors weren't really screening the questions when you would go into the doctor's office. They're checking you for your weight. They're making sure your body is physically good, but they weren't asking the right questions as they do now. When I had my last child, that's when things begin to turn, where they begin to ask, hey, are you noticing that you're crying more, that your emotions are doing this and that? They're asking the right questions now. And so I feel like the mothers of now have more of an ability to, one, be screened earlier. They can get the help that they need earlier. I did not have that. And it really took a toll on all aspects of my life. I was a stay-at-home mom, and anybody who's ever been a stay-at-home mom, or if you know a stay-at-home mom, you know that it's one of the hardest jobs to ever do. And doing that job, staying home with little people, having to readjust your emotions, and then also have emotional intelligence so that your children don't suffer by your hand and by the way that you treat them and how you talk to them is not an easy task. Yes, it's hard to clean the dishes and put the laundry in the thing when you got little children and you got 17 loads and it doesn't seem like you're ever going to get it done. That's one part of it, right? Keeping a house, that's one part of it. If you get in there, you can take a couple hours and clean the house. That's not what being a stay-at-home mom is. Being a stay-at-home mom is doing all of that, still putting dinner on the table, still making sure that you're educating your little ones, because I had a full curriculum for my kids. I don't even despise the fact that my kids are great readers and the fact that they do all those things. I put that time into them. We took field trips twice a week. Like, there was a schedule. There was some type of structure. And I get it. Not everybody can have the same structure that I have. But whatever you could do, do it. And stay-at-home mom is a hard job. If you don't want to go, listen, I've been very honest. I don't like other people's children. I know that's going to ruffle some feathers. Let me be very clear. I love the children. Martin love the kids. Toy love the kids. But I don't like other people's children. And what that means is when you're working with other people's children, you don't know what temperament you're going to deal with. And I realize that unless I know the temperament of this child, one, I'm always going to lead with respect. So let's get that off the back of your head. She said she don't like the kids. She's going to treat them bad. I never said that. I just said I don't like other people's children, and I'm okay with that. However, dealing with other people and other people's temperaments of children, dealing with different ways that people are raised, and then you're trying to come in and do stuff. This is why the Lord did not put in my spirit to be a teacher. He did not put in my spirit to work at a daycare. I have a twin sister. She works at a daycare. God bless her. She's been doing that since she was like before we were 18, but God forbid when she turned 18, she definitely was in it. She's been in it. She was in it. And she's been doing this ever since. God bless her. We're 44, twins. She's been doing that since 18. I say she has the patience of Job when it comes to other people's kids, where I would have to dig deep. I would have to pray myself through. I would have to call on the good Lord to endow me to do it, because it's not for me. Okay? It's just not. But on today's mental health conversation, as we bring in other elements of things that are going on in the world, like there's a lot happening. Y'all's president is doing a lot in these streets, ripping people's basic human rights. Life is about to get, I won't say difficult. I'm going to say a little bit more treacherous. We're going to have to work differently. We're going to have to move differently. We're going to have to think outside of the box. Community is going to be key in order to make sure that the people that don't have access. Trump is literally cutting off people's access. I don't understand how you can be pro-life and say I'm about making sure these children don't get aborted, but then while these kids are here, you making sure the mamas can't feed them. Somebody make a sense. Now I'm going to ruffle a bunch, and I'm okay with that. Let me put your hands, extend your hand to the phone like you're going to call. Put your hands to the phone. I want you to hear me clearly. I'm okay with this. Some of y'all, and let me just be very clear. I know what the church I grew up in. I grew up in this non-denominational, which is a denomination of its own. Let's be clear. You want to say you're non-denominational, but it is a denomination because y'all chose to make it that way. But I digress. And a lot of it was based upon, I don't want to say that they pushed the Republican vote, but I will say that there was layered in it. There was no need to be talking about having love for the LGBTQ plus community because it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't talking about doing things that are supporting mothers who had children and making sure that they have what they need to have. But interesting in the same token, I would say about good 70% of the people that I went to church with, 70% of them were on food stamps and different things with housing and all that. And some of them that are still there are doing the same. But they voted, I know without a shadow of a doubt. I don't even have to think about it. I know that their vote would have been to go towards making sure that Trump was in office because of the abortion. And I'm not here to preach to nobody. I'm not here to go back and try to reclaim my time. What I am saying is because of that, a lot of them have voted for that and therefore will be caught in the midst of all of the things that are going to happen. I'm going to tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say, I have never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread, which is true. That is a scripture in the Bible. It's 100% true. God will take care of his children. I think that we also have to understand that there are other things going on, right? You're saying that you're pro-life, but you don't want to help people who already have children into the world. They can't abort them. They can't do this. They can't do that. You want to make it a crime for doctors to assist in these things when reality is that abortion was only one part of it, right? You're talking about women's health. God forbid, and this is a true, like I had a situation with even myself. If I had went through what I was going through and everything that Trump wanted to put into place happened right now, I would be dead. I wouldn't even be here. Because when I had my third child, having myself have stuff happening with my brain due to me being pregnancy. It wasn't even for no other reason. And all of the things that they went through to try to save my life, I wouldn't be here. Because nobody cares about the mother being here. Nobody cares about those health because those are women issues, women health, and they don't care about that. They just want you to have children. They want you to have children if you're married. And what I find to be interesting is that there's so many people who rely on SNAP benefits. They rely on housing benefits. They rely on Medicaid, not helping children that are already here to not have insurance. How is that pro-life? Just somebody, quick. Somebody tell me, right? It does not make sense. And that's my point. We're pro-life, but once you hear, you better pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Well, if you were born to a poor family, I don't know what to tell you. You just going to continue to be poor, and I think that's crazy. I'm not saying that we should not put caps, because I know some people who are cereal. When I say cereal, I don't mean the cereal you place in your bowl. I'm talking about cereal, SERIAL. People who are literally will stay on assistance until Jesus come back. And even when he comes back, they be like, hold on, Jesus, I got to swipe my card for SNAP benefits. I get that. There are some people who will do that, but that's not everybody. And I think that having clear cutoff times is key, because here's the thing. If you are doing what you need to be doing and you are getting these benefits, you should be trying to find another way to come off. Like when we were on it, and I'm going to say we, when I talk about we, I'm talking about my mother. She was on benefits. Back in the day, it was just straight up food stamps. It wasn't no SNAP benefits, wasn't no swiping of the card. This when there was the paper monies. My mom would give me the paper money to go down to the store, go get whatever it was, bring back her change, blah, blah, blah. But when we were on that, my mother was very clear. She did not play with us. She said, listen, this is a temporary thing and we're going to get our behinds off of this. And she worked her butt off to get off of these things. This was before she even met my stepfather. She was very adamant. My mother didn't really sugarcoat with us when it came to stuff like that. She was very clear and having conversations with us, so we knew the deal. So she was like, listen, if you ever need to be on these things, these are things in place to help you, but they should be extremely temporary and you need to be doing everything to get up off of it. And she wasn't playing. And she showed us that through an example, right? She showed us that. And I'm grateful for that. But we're back to the fact that, again, y'all's president is out here wreaking havoc. He's arresting people. Some people is actually American citizens that ain't never done nothing. And it is like, we scooped you, you good. It doesn't matter. We're just going to keep you. And I find that to be disturbing. And the fact that you can find that people are being put into cages just so you feel like, I don't want these people. You don't want these people into the country because they're doing the jobs you don't want to do. But then what happens when the jobs aren't getting done? Somebody real quick. Yeah, these are just things I've been having on my mind, and these are things that's been happening since the last time I came before y'all, because we in a crazy time right now. We're in a crazy time, so I have to say again, community. And let's talk about all these crazy times with different things that are going on. People's lives are being stretched. People are going to start losing their jobs by the thousands. And I pray to Almighty God that the people who are listening to this podcast, that your job would be secure, because nothing is worse than losing your job. The mental anguish of not having a job, not being able to provide in the same way that you provided, not being able to put food on the table, not being able to do the things that you have been used to doing is not for the weak. There's nothing good about feeling like you can't pay a bill when the lights get shut off, the food can't come in. Like, it's not a good thing. And all the things that are going on in the world, whether it's job wise, health wise, SNAP benefits, all these different things, because that's just a drip in the bucket compared to all the things that has been going on. But the reality of it is that how do you maintain your mental health and your mental agility? And mental agility is your ability to reflex yourself when things happen, right? You're able to be flexible when things go awry so that you're not stuck, right? And you can get mentally stuck. I've been mentally stuck many a times. And when you're mentally stuck, it's almost like you temporarily just be like, you know what, whatever happens, happen. I don't care. I can't do no more than this. And it's just going to be what it's going to be. And let me just say, if you ever felt that way, welcome to adulthood. Adulting is ghetto. And I don't want to be an adult anymore. Remember when we were kids? And we used to say things like, I can't wait to be grown. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. And many of us kept our word. A lot of us have done the very things that we said that we were, when we get an adult, we were going to do. We have done those things. God bless. I'm grateful for the times I said, when I get grown and I have kids, I'm going to treat them a certain way. I'm going to do a certain thing. And I have kept my word. God is good, right? But being grown also has another flip, because you got to deal with the other adults that are around you in a surrounding space. When you go to work, you got to deal with them raggedy coworkers that I'm sure a lot of us have, right? Or you deal with, let's say, your raggedy spouse. You may have picked them. They might have been all right at one point, but then they go turn and left too. Like, things happen. Things happen, and it can pull and stress you in different ways. So I want to acknowledge that. How do you have mental agility to be able to switch without feeling like, Lord, I don't understand. I can't really comprehend this. I can't do. And I'm just going to share some of the things that I do. One of the things that I do that I notice when I'm not doing, it shows up in certain ways. One of the things that I do is try to take a couple moments to ask myself, is this something that I can fix? Is this something I can fix? For instance, we all lifing and lifing is lifing, right? And you discover, you know what? I don't like the way I look in this outfit. Maybe I need to get to the gym and work a little harder. I need to cut back on my eating, be more conscious of my body. And I'll say to myself, when I start to go down that dwindling path of, oh my God, my clothes don't fit. Jesus, I ain't going to be able to wear nothing. I'm always in the public eye and I got to look like a certain way. Blah, blah, blah. You go through that, then you have to say, well, what is it that I can fix? I can't fix how I look in this dress right now. So what I can temporarily do is change the dress or the outfit, put something else on. And in the meantime, let's get on my hustle behind the scenes and make sure that I start doing things that makes my body feel good. Instead of drowning in the fact that once the outfit don't fit, life is over. Once the outfit don't fit, I ain't going. Once the outfit don't fit, now I got an attitude. Once the outfit don't fit, now everybody that's around me is going to absorb my attitude because I want them to know that I'm upset. I think people know that you're upset. And I feel like sometimes we don't think about simply asking yourself, what can you do? I'll give you another example. I have been out in events and I've had people treat me very poorly. And I've had it done. Sometimes it's racially involved. Sometimes it's just people just don't like you, right? And so they want you to know. I don't understand people who go out their way to make sure people know that You don't like them because what are we here? What's the goal? What are we going to do with this information, right? And I've had times to say, what can I do about it? Well, one, I can't change the way that this person feels because they're choosing to react according to how they're feeling, right? I cannot change how they feel. What I can do is to make sure that I don't match that energy. I know we talk about matching energy often. I'm gonna match that person's energy, and I've said it many a times before. But I also had to learn, like, why are we matching that energy? Because why am I giving my energy out to be sour? Because that other person is choosing to be sour as well. And then what do I expect to get in return for the sour behavior? Right? And so I can choose to be a better person. I could also choose to remove myself directly from this one or two person's issues. I don't have to be around them. Like, for instance, I go to a media event, we can work a room. If we're not assigned to a seat, we're not at a restaurant where we're sitting down one-on-one, then I can occupy space in another part of the place wherever I'm at. So I can remove myself from a situation instead of saying, I've never done anything to this person. I don't know why. You can ask why. Sometimes we as humans, we ask why to questions we know we will never get a response to. And then with the mental anguish of saying, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. One thing I've learned about it being an adult is some things happen that it just ain't gonna never bring understanding. People die and you don't never have that understanding. Things happen and you won't understand why. I feel like my great grandmother would say, but you understand it better by and by. And one thing I know, two things are for certain, is that if you live long enough, like the old folks would say, you live long enough, you'll understand some things. You'll start putting some things together. And so I take hope in that and I say, okay, I can't change this right now. I can remove myself because I don't need to allow that negative energy to come to my way. And then I'm in a space where I need to tell somebody else, did you see what so-and-so did? Because they acted this way, they did this. And now all we're doing is sit there talking about this one person who, again, is responsible for their own behavior, bad or good. And now I've taken on the persona of being the bad girl or being the mean girl, just like they're choosing to be the mean girl, right? So I've asked myself, what can I do in a situation of mental anguish? What can I do to fix a situation? And there are going to be many a days where there are no solutions to whatever it is that you seek. There are no resolutions. There are no solutions. There doesn't seem like, okay, I got to figure it out. This makes sense. That makes sense. There are going to be times when that happens. So I can only control myself. I can take the time to control what it is that I'm doing. I can take the time to control how I feel about it, and I can remove. And there's going to be times when you can't remove yourself. I've been at plenty of times. You know, you go to a family function, the room ain't but so big, the house ain't but so big, and you need to be there for a certain purpose. And so now I'm going to do what I can do until I can leave. There are times when that happens. There are going to be times when that happens. So ask yourself, what can you do in that moment? And then do the things that you can and ponder what you can't, but don't let it overtake your thought process. If you are all you can see is red because something that somebody said, I need you to be okay with that. Acknowledge the fact that, listen, this person said something really mean to me, and I am super angry. Like, I am so upset right now. I could fight this person right now. I'm so mad. But acknowledge it and then find a way to absorb that energy somewhere else. Because there's nothing worse, absolutely nothing worse than trying to do something with somebody that you and I both know it ain't going to amount to nothing. Some people are just set on being raggedy. And listen, raggedy is a word that I will use on any podcast because it's a word I use in real life. I'd be telling them raggedy people, y'all know you raggedy. And there's times when, hey, I'm raggedy as well. But ask yourself, what can you do in this situation? Another thing is reset. I'm a big person on a reset. I'm resetting often. And I know that it's unfair that I have to reset because of what somebody else did, but in all reality is that we are in control of us. So sometimes resetting isn't about the other person, it's for you. And how do I reset? Quickly, sometimes very quickly, sometimes just writing it. I keep a journal on me at all times. And if I don't have a journal, I use my notes, the notes app. If you have an iPhone, I don't know what it would be called on Android, but that ain't it's something, whatever the equivalent to a note app. And I will write out my thoughts right away because holding that in sometimes is worse. You ever have yourself be emotionally overwhelmed? You got all these thoughts in your head, and sometimes just simply writing it out is going to be helpful. So resetting. Sometimes it means that they talk about drinking cold water when you're extremely angry so that you can do the whole calm down. I can tell you that, yes, it works in certain situations. If you are already at a blown up space, you need to go back to the first one and you need to go ahead and retreat. You might need to get up out of there. Like, you need to remove yourself immediately, because it's nobody, and I mean nobody, is worth going to hell or jail. Let me just say, I ain't found too many people that is. I've had situations, but not many, where somebody was worth hell in jail. Not many. I ain't gonna say I ain't never, because that would be a lie. I've had, but it's very rare. And now that I'm a mother, it's not too many people that I would allow for them to do something to me to the point where I need to be so reactive that I find myself in jail, because again, I'm not separating myself from my children. So anything that's going to separate me from my children, I'm not willing to do. Now, if I have to protect myself or my children, then it's all good. It's all bets is on. I'm here for it. Like, let's do this. Let's do this right now, because I'm not going to back down from protection of myself or my children. But when it comes to me doing something or being in jail or being separated from my children, I'm not willing to do that. I'm willing to eat my pride. I'm willing to eat my pride for the sake of my children. Yes, yes, I am. I'm willing to let you think that I'm a punk for the sake of my children. Yes, they are worth just that much, because you're not about to separate me. I'm not about to have my kids watch me go to jail, be handcuffed over some mess that somebody else created. That if the situation was reversed, they would do this. I can't. I'm not going to do that. So you might have to retreat. You might have to reset. You might have to write it out. You might even have to cry it out. And I know this is a tricky situation, because again, we have our egos where we just won't let the other person see that they've made this impact. So we don't want that other person to know that they made us feel a certain way. We don't want that other person to know that we are in our feelings, that they hurt our feelings. You know what I've learned as I've gotten older? I've learned that some of my own personal lash outs was because I simply couldn't say that that person hurt my feelings. And so instead of me being honest about where I was, it was okay for me to just act all the way up. And I mean, in my 20s, I was a hot mess. I would be ready to drop bowls on them. Like, I'm not playing games. Like, I'm ready to fight at a drop of a dime. I'm ready to argue at a drop of a dime. I'm ready to get in your face at a drop of a dime. And them dimes got real expensive, because when I think about the time lost by acting out, the relationships lost by acting out, the situations that could have been changed by acting out, I really wish I can go back and get them dimes, because at the end of the day, it becomes team too much at times. Stop trying to prove yourself to people that don't give a damn about whether or not you made a good point or not. Sometimes it just is not worth it. But when I think about it, it really could have just boiled down to letting somebody know that they hurt me. And understanding that saying that somebody hurt you doesn't make you look weak. It's just a real situation. You hurt me when you said that. I've had situations where somebody has said something. Let's say, I'll give an example. I won't give the name of the person, but I had a situation where this person accused me of not being antisocial with just then, right? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, my God, I didn't even get in the building good enough, and now I'm being called antisocial. Now, could that be because I'm more kind of standoffish with that person on a regular basis? Possibly, but the way that they did it, they went out of their way to embarrass me, and I actually hadn't even done anything. And I had to take account that, okay, this person doesn't care for me because of the particular situation of the conversations that they had with other people. 100% I can say that, because I actually had no interactions with this person. I did not have interactions. When I would have interactions, it would be a high and by. And maybe they wanted more interaction with me that I wasn't willing to give. But this was also in the midst of, at one point, my postpartum depression and my move to Philly. I was just unhappy. I have to be honest about that. Can I just have an honest moment? I talk about moving to Philly and how much it changed my life, and I will never take that back. I couldn't even be on this mic. I might have gotten on here, but it would have taken me a couple more years, right? I believe that everything that you choose to do will come back. It just may take more time, right? You take longer to get to the destiny than you need to, because you ain't walking in purpose. That's just how I feel. But moving to Philadelphia has changed my life. It changed my life. It changed my life of my children. And overall, it changed my life. But I was very unhappy with my decision once I got here. I'm going to say that very honestly. Once I got here, I contemplated going back many a day. because I wasn't happy and I wasn't able to express the real reason as to why I wasn't happy. And so little superficial things is the reason why I made the unhappy, well, I'm unhappy because of this, when reality was much, much bigger. It was much bigger than the superficial things. But again, we're afraid to say somebody hurt us. We're afraid to say, hey, I'm unhappy with a decision that I made, and here's why. And I'm unhappy and also I'm not able to say what it is that I needed. I could have said to my fiance at the time, which is now my now husband, I'm unhappy because this is too many moves, too many things changing at one given time. And in addition to these things changing, I'm not able to adapt. And in the midst of that, these are the other superficial things that are pulling on that. And I don't know how to work through that. Being just honest. Come on now. Honest conversation. Honest conversation. I can say all that now because I'm on the other side of it. But in the midst of it, it's hard to say and put into words or find the words or figure it out because your pain is so great that it doesn't allow you to see things. But again, some of the lashing out, some of the ways that we go off, sis, go off, sis. Sometimes when we go off, it's because we can't regulate our emotions. We can't say, I am hurting. Like, I am literally hurting because we can't say that. We can't do that. And we got to get to a better place. We got to get to a better place where we do that. We got to get to a better place where that happens. We got to get to a better place where, again, we put that all on the line and be very clear about what it is that we need, what it is that we are struggling with, what it is that can be done better. We got to be honest. And sometimes I feel like honesty, it doesn't just, it won't fix some things. Like sometimes when you have to be brutally honest with someone and say, hey, I don't have the feelings for you that you have for me, it's not going to feel good, right? It's going to feel really bad. And the person on the other receiving end may feel away. But having that person dragging on, knowing that it's not going to work out, isn't good either. Cutting and pulling that Band-Aid off sometimes is the worst pain that you ever feel, but it is very temporary, and over time that healing process can happen. So if you have ever had any type of these situations have happened, and maybe you can insert whatever your situation that maps that makes sense to you, you've got to find a way to be able to adapt and have that mental agility so that you can have different tools in your toolbox when things happen. Every time something happens, I can't always call my therapist, although my therapist is one of my greatest tools. It's one of my greatest tools for me. It may not be the greatest tool for you. It is one of the greatest tools for me. And there's been situations where I've wanted to call my therapist, could have called my therapist, but it just wouldn't have made sense at the time. I'll give you an example. You may have heard me talk about it last season and a couple of episodes on the back end. But I was in a situation where, again, I was watching this show. I think it was like the Daddy one with Kevin Hart. And my emotions took over watching the show. If you watch the movie, well, it's not a show. If you watch the movie, you know that Kevin Hart's wife dies out of complications from childbirth. I had some severe complications from childbirth that could have literally taken me out. But that's not why I was upset. I was upset because of the relationship with the mother, with his mother-in-law, and I at the time felt so overwhelmed emotionally with all the things that I had on my plate. I wanted to be with my own mother. Like I wanted to get in my car and drive. My emotions was driving me to get in my car and drive, which is not a good thing. And at the moment, I could have called my mother. At the moment, I could have called my therapist to work it out and find out what is happening. Why is my emotions feeling like they're so topsy-turvy right now? I felt really overwhelmed. How do I handle that? But I couldn't. My therapist has a job that he does during the day, and then he does the therapy at night. I wasn't in a position to get a hold of him, and I was in a position that I felt the need to contact my mother because at the time, I wasn't sure what she was doing. It was a lot of things happening, right? And I had to use another tool. I had to use the conversations that my therapist had with me. I had to use those conversations to help me to get through those moments. So I'm not somewhere sobbing for hours and hours. Now I sobbed. I had a real deep, one of them deep, real ugly cries, but it was very cleansing and I needed it, but it wasn't something that was so debilitating. I had to have that moment and I had to work it out. So even though therapy is one of my greatest tools, sometimes it's not feasible for me to be able to contact them. And so again, using the other tools that I had to self-regulate. I had to allow my emotions, allow myself to cry. Like I said, sometimes crying it out. Once I got done crying it out, I immediately journaled my thoughts. Why did that movie influence me so much? Why did it affect me so much? What was I thinking? while my emotions was overtaking, what could I have done to maybe curtail them sooner? And in that situation, I don't think I needed to. I think I needed to let it out. And sometimes you have to in certain situations. I can't break down and cry because somebody's bothering me at an event. I can try to remove myself. I can go to the PR and say, hey, this person is doing this, and it's actually interfering with the production of this event. If it gets to that point, there are certain things I could do, but then there are times when, as an adult, I had to absorb until I can go somewhere and then let some things out. I may need to write myself a quick note. I may need to text somebody and say, hey, I need you to have eyes and ears on the situation. Like, I'm in the midst of this. This is what's happening. There's a lot of different things that can happen, a lot of different things that can be done. And I need us to get to the point where we understand that these are some of the parts and practices that we need to become a little bit better. And again, your tools, you got to figure out which tool you need. And it ain't going to be the same tool every single time, but you do need some tools. Since today is Friday, it is National Caviar Day, but it's also World Listening Day, a day for us to make sure that we let you know that we need to listen more and talk less. A lot of times when you're in a conversation with other people that are around you, we do listen. Like, we'll listen to them to a certain extent, but then we have other things going on in our heads. We are interjecting conversations. Listen more to the people that are around you. But it is Friday, and that means we're going into a new weekend. We are deep into the dog days of summer. This is the hottest time in the summertime. It's going to get hotter here in Philadelphia. It has been raining. I don't know why, but we all have been experiencing some huge, like, rainy seasons. I don't know what that's all about, but whatever it is, we are dealing with it. And that means it just feels like it's more springish than summer. Like, we're having summer heat, but we're dealing with spring behavior. There has been, unfortunately, so much devastation with rain, and we just want to send our hearts out to those who are in Texas, but also New Jersey, New York, because New Jersey, New York, which is near me, just got hit extremely hard, where I watched those videos and I can resonate with that. We had a huge flood that flooded our home, and let me just tell you, having your house flooded, I can't tell you how many times my mental anguish, my mental agility had to keep doing somersaults, but I promise you it had to, because just the cleanup, and then trying to figure out picking up the pieces and calling the insurance company, like, all of these things is a lot. And I encourage any homeowner, if you do not have flood insurance, I don't care if you think that you don't live in a flood insurance or flood place, and you're telling yourself you don't think you need it. If it's offered for you for your insurance, grab it. Get it, please. Don't play yourself, because there's places that I know for sure that didn't think they were going to get flooded, and they are experiencing floods. Listen, God gonna do what he want to do, so you might want to go ahead and get that flood insurance. And let me just say, having it saved our home, having it saved our quote unquote things. We were able to, of course, replace things, but we were able to become made whole. We were able to get our brand new basement, which our basement was already fully furnished, fully finished, but we were able to then get a brand new one, which we turned into office and a play area for our kids. And I'm just saying, having that insurance really was helpful. So get yourself some flood insurance if you are a homeowner. And if you are a renter of any kind, why do you not have renter's insurance? Like, I'm seeing some of y'all that's up there just like, well, I don't want another expense. You would have a bigger expense if a fire or something happens in that house or that apartment and you don't have your stuff in order. So get yourself some insurance. How y'all insurance stuff? Y'all you got more insurance on your cell phone than you do on your houses. Let's change that. Like, life be life, and so let's change that. Get insurance on them cars. Stop riding dirty. Get your stuff together. Like, become a real adult. It may mean you may need to get a second job. Listen, this is the second jobs. This is the time for it, unfortunately. You might need to get a second job. And I ain't going to tell you it's going to be easy, but you're also talking to somebody that held 2 or 3 jobs at one point. Okay? Call me a Jamaican, because I'm telling you, I've held multiple jobs at any given point, because when life's, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to go out here and get this money. Like, I'm going to get out here and work. And I know that's not feasible for everybody. You got small kids. You don't have a sitter. I'm not saying that. Every situation is different. But for those who are able-bodied, have the ability, have the resources to go and do the things, go do the things. Go and do the things. I'm telling you, you need to just go ahead and do the things. But it is a Friday. We're going into the weekend. It's weekend time. Remember what I always say. You got to find at least one activity that resonates with you, meaning something that fills you up, makes you feel good, makes you feel whole. Have the time. Don't spend your weekend doing all of these quote unquote errands and not enough time actually enjoying your life. Doing all these things. I'm the family Uber now. I have to do a lot of things. There's a lot of things on my plate. I'm balancing, sometimes well, sometimes not, all of the things that need to be done. But in the same token, I need you. I need you to find something that you love, something that is for you. As we go into the weekend, this is a new season. Welcome. I'm going to be talking and breaking down these mental health conversations a little bit more. There's a lot of things happening in these internet streets. Some of y'all have been playing on these internets. Can I just say, all the people who have been going to the Beyonce concert, because I've gone to one too. I went to the one in New Jersey / New York. Had a blast, had a ball. Y'all out here doing the God's work, because me watching some of y'all videos, especially those that have been in Atlanta, thank you. Because I feel like I was there, and some things that y'all had that we didn't have, like we didn't have Jay-Z, which I don't to this day understand how we didn't get Jay-Z in New York and New Jersey, because we know he was there. Like, we know he was there. Rumi and them was all there. He was there. I don't understand. And somebody needs to tell me how he wasn't even in his own little state. I don't know. But nonetheless, there's so many things that are happening summer-wise. Get out and enjoy the sun for those who enjoy it. Get out and do some cookouts. Get out and do some family and friends oriented things. I've been hanging out with some couples more. My husband and I have been hanging out with couples more. We've been intentionally putting in more date nights. We have been making sure that we have times with our children. We have been doing family oriented things. It's a lot to try to balance all these different things that we are, but we've been making it work and we've been making it happen. And I am encouraging you to do the same. Find the way. Find the time. It's there. I don't want to hear about you don't have enough time. You do. If I can run a full business, I can do all the things, I can have all these hats, you can find the time. You just got to find it. Just find the time. So with that being said, this is the first episode of this new season, and I'm super glad. I'm super glad to be here, celebrating 4 years of being an amazing podcaster, and I'm grateful for my journey. I'm grateful for all the things. I'm grateful for taking the time out to do the things that I love, and podcasting may not be your thing. Maybe being a speaker just does not work for you. I've had the ability to do some speaking at some engagements in some places, and it's been a blessing as well this summer. And, again, speaking may not be your thing, but whatever it is that your thing, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself and make it happen, because you're worth at least trying it. Like, I would rather for you to try, not like it, or calling yourself failing, because there's never failure. If you try something and it just wasn't you, but try it. Aren't you worth it? Aren't you worth trying that one thing has been burning on your soul to do? Aren't you worth it? If nobody's ever told you, you are absolutely worth it. So I want you to have a great weekend. Thank you for your love and your support. Y'all be running my numbers up on weeks I'm not even doing anything, and I love that. So thank you. Have the most amazing weekend. Have the most amazing all the things until we come back next Friday and talk about it again. Have a good weekend.
Thank you as always for joining me, and I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations, that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.